Are you in your 30s and still juggling credit card balances or car loans? The real danger isn't the debt itself, it's what debt costs you in lost freedom. I'm Nick, and I help people build wealth without losing their peace of mind. In this video, we're breaking down how $1,000 in monthly payments could quietly steal over $120,000 from your future wealth. You'll see the math, the mindset shift that fixes it, and why going debt-free could be the most profitable move of your decade. Starting with understanding how that $1,000 leak really drains your prime earning years. Here's what that looks like in practice. The $1,000 leak. Most people think debt is just another bill to handle each month. No different from rent or groceries. But what if those payments aren't harmless at all? What if they're slowly diverting the best financial years of your life away from wealth creation? Your 30s are where income usually starts to rise, promotions become more common, and financial independence starts to feel attainable. It's also the decade where many people unintentionally undermine their progress. They call it manageable debt, but in reality, it's money moving backward, away from your future. This period is often called your prime earning decade. Salaries tend to increase rapidly, and opportunities to save or invest expand if you make deliberate choices. Yet, for many, this same decade becomes a plateau. Between credit card balances, car loans, and lingering personal loans, thousands of dollars leave your account every month. Making those payments might feel responsible. After all, you're keeping up. But those constant withdrawals delay financial growth at the exact moment it should be accelerating. Let's break down the numbers. Take $400 in credit card payments and $600 for a car loan. That's $1,000 leaving your hands each month. Over a single year, that adds up to $12,000. Over a decade, that's $120,000 gone. And that's before accounting for potential investment growth. If instead you invested that same $1,000 monthly into a simple stock market index fund averaging a 7% return, you'd have roughly $170,000 after 10 years. That's not wishful thinking. It's a direct calculation of opportunity lost. This trap doesn't happen because people make poor decisions. It happens because of how debt is sold. The marketing of only $29 a month or low interest financing makes almost any purchase feel safe. But each small commitment chips away at long-term wealth. The real danger isn't the interest, it's the opportunity cost. Each dollar funneled to lenders is a dollar denied the power of compounding returns, the very force that builds wealth quietly over time. And compounding isn't just a financial term, it's what gives you flexibility later in life. That same $1,000 per month could become the down payment for a home, the seed capital for a new business, or the safety net that lets you step back when work or family demands change. When those funds are tied up in debt, those doors close. Every payment made is not just money lost, it's momentum lost. Many people don't realize this until years into repayment, when they finally notice how much potential growth has passed them by. Paying on time feels like progress, but it can disguise stagnation. Debt drains your wealth-building years not through chaos, but through quiet consistency. Month after month, year after year. It's like financial quicksand slowly pulling down every dollar you earn, keeping you stuck when you should be gaining ground. And beyond the numbers, there's a deeper toll. Living with debt changes how you think and what you're able to do. It adds tension to everyday choices and limits your options before you even see the restriction. It's like trying to juggle flaming torches while riding a unicycle. The effort required just to maintain balance prevents you from moving forward. As we look deeper, it becomes clear that this isn't just a financial issue. The constant outflow doesn't only take years from your savings, it seeps into daily life, shaping how you live, the choices you make, and the peace of mind you carry. This is where the concept of financial quicksand comes in. The hidden toll of debt on your daily life. It's not just a strain on your wallet. Consumer debt quietly reshapes how you handle life's growing responsibilities. In your 30s, everything seems to happen at once. Careers become more demanding, households more complex, and for many, aging parents begin to need help. These years call for flexibility, but debt makes every decision feel heavier, every adjustment harder. It's as if life's pace accelerates just as your financial footing begins to slip. Debt limits your ability to adapt when life throws surprises your way. Maybe the water heater breaks, the car needs sudden repairs, or your child has an unexpected dental bill. Without an emergency cushion, the smallest disruption can cause a ripple of stress, forcing impossible choices between paying the utility bill, covering groceries, or taking on new debt just to stay afloat. What should be a simple fix becomes an ongoing source of tension. Each unplanned expense is another reminder that your budget doesn't belong entirely to you. This lack of flexibility exposes how much control debt really has over your decisions. The more obligations you carry, the fewer options you have. Promotions that require relocation, time off for extra training, or starting a side business suddenly feels out of reach because you can't afford to pause or risk missing a payment. Debt doesn't just reduce your cash flow, it narrows your world. Every opportunity must first pass through the filter of, can I keep up with what I already owe? I once felt the same tensions firsthand. My father's kitchen sink clogged badly one weekend, and the repair ended up beyond our basic tools. A few years earlier, when I was still juggling multiple loan payments, I probably would have tried to fix it myself to avoid the added cost. But this time, free from that constant drain, I simply called a plumber and solved the problem in an hour. It wasn't about convenience, it was about having options. That's what financial flexibility feels like, the ability to handle life's needs without hesitation. For many people buried under monthly payments, that kind of freedom feels out of reach. Living with debt often feels like trying to juggle flaming torches while riding a unicycle. Every move requires intense focus just to stay upright. It's exhausting. Even when income rises, progress feels slow because every step forward gets matched by another monthly withdrawal. That stress builds quietly. You might not notice it until you realize how often you're mentally checking balances, tracking statements, or adjusting payments just to fit the next expense. That constant vigilance drains energy that could be spent improving your job skills, investing, or simply resting. The psychological strain of this routine shouldn't be underestimated. Debt keeps your attention fixed on maintenance rather than growth, turning money management into crisis control. It influences relationships, decision-making, and even how you approach risk. When everything feels fragile, long-term planning starts to fade into survival mode thinking. The more you try to balance, the less ground you seem to gain. At its core, the trap deepens when you lack a safety net. Without an emergency fund that covers at least 6 months of living expenses, every unexpected bill triggers the familiar slide back into borrowing. One small expense, like a car breakdown or medical visit, can undo months of progress. Each new balance chips away at your ability to recover, keeping you in the same cycle that created the problem in the first place. The real danger isn't just financial, it's how easily it all begins to feel normal. Breaking free from that pattern means more than earning more money or cutting expenses. It means redefining what progress looks like. It's about shifting from constant reaction to deliberate control. Because when you stop sinking into that quicksand, you finally have the chance to build forward momentum. And that's exactly what the next step is about. Learning how to turn the end of debt payments into the beginning of real freedom. Most debt strategies focus on managing what you owe. This one is about ending it completely. The escape plan to eliminate consumer debt for good starts with one goal: no more payments or creditors. This isn't about optimizing interest rates or juggling balances more efficiently. It's about clearing every consumer debt, credit cards, personal loans, car notes, so your income finally works for you. A mortgage can remain if it's manageable, but everything else that compounds interest or consumption must go. Your 30s are your peak earning decade, and every dollar tied up in debt now is a dollar your future self never gets to invest. Half measures don't work because they preserve the habit that caused the problem. Paying off one card while opening another, or upgrading a car before finishing the old loan, restarts the cycle. This issue is rarely the balance. It's the repetition of behavior that brings it back. Breaking free begins with tackling the debt that costs you the most. That means listing every balance and focusing all available cash on your highest interest debt first while paying minimums on the rest. Once the first balance is gone, move on to the next. This high interest first or avalanche approach minimalizes the overall cost of repayment and accelerates freedom. Automation is the quiet hero of this process. Commit to automatic transfers for debt payment every month so decisions don't depend on motivation or timing. When the system runs itself, progress continues even when life gets busy. At the same time, examine where your money leaks without purpose. Subscriptions, upgrades, and convenient spending can silently consume hundreds of dollars a month. Each canceled or reduced expense effectively shortens your debt timeline and frees new dollars for your next payment target. Avoid the trap of lifestyle inflation as income rises. When you get a raise, bonus, or side income, make a rule to direct at least half of that increase towards debt reduction or savings before your spending can expand. This is one of the simplest ways to accelerate results without feeling deprived. It turns new income into progress instead of creating new obligations. Debt elimination is less about restriction and more about reassigning priorities so that every extra dollar pushes you towards stability instead of more payments. As balances shrink, your financial breathing room expands. Each account you close releases part of your cash flow, and that space builds momentum. For many people, the milestone of clearing all consumer debt means gaining back roughly $1,000 a month in disposable income. That amount represents a turning point, a shift from managing liabilities to directing assets. It's not just a number, it's a change in your sense of control. You start thinking about what to build instead of what to fix. That shift also changes how you feel about money. Managing debt keeps you reactive, always thinking about yesterday's expenses. Eliminating it moves you to offense, where money becomes a strategic tool rather than a burden. And because these new habits form around discipline and automation, they naturally set up the mindset you'll need for wealth building later. Progress no longer depends on willpower, it runs on structure. To secure those gains, precision planning replaces guesswork. A well-structured budget clarifies where your income goes, while a strong emergency fund protects the progress you've made. For most people in their 30s, an emergency fund should cover 6 to 12 months of expenses, not just 3. This deeper cushion accounts for life's real pressures at this stage: home repairs, medical bills, or helping aging parents. It's the buffer that prevents relapse into debt when the unexpected happens. When every non-mortgage debt is gone and your emergency fund is solid, the financial tide turns. You now have open cash flow and a stable foundation. The next step is deciding what those freed up dollars will do for you. How to turn what once went to lenders into the mechanism that builds your wealth. Now comes the real turning point: redeploying freedom. This is where your old debt payments stop leaving your account and start building your future. Redeploying those funds with purpose transforms relief into growth. It's not about hoarding cash or celebrating zero balances. It's about directing every freed dollar into systems that multiply its value over time. This step defines whether your progress ends with being debt-free or continued towards real financial independence. For many people, the risk after paying off debt isn't falling back into borrowing. It's letting the freed up cash drift into unplanned spending. Lifestyle creep quietly fills the space debt once occupied. A few upgrades here, more travel there, and before long, the freedom you worked so hard for has been absorbed by new habits. The simplest way to avoid that slide is through intentional redeployment and automation. Those former payments should already have a new destination the moment they hit your account. If you automatically transfer them to investments or savings, you remove the temptation to spend and ensure that money keeps moving forward toward your long-term goals. Let's make that concrete. The most effective place for those dollars depend on your foundation and priorities. If your emergency fund isn't fully built, that's step 1, covering 6 to 12 months of expenses so an unexpected cost never puts you back into debt. From there, consider your retirement accounts. A Roth IRA or 401k lets your money grow tax advantage for decades. Starting in your 30s means you still have 25 to 30 years for compound interest to work, though the math becomes tougher the longer you wait. Next, look at accounts that give you flexibility. A taxable investment account allows you to invest in a broad market index fund and access it when needed, whether for a new business, down payment, or time off. And if education is a goal, a 529 plan offers tax advantages and new rollover options that can even transfer leftover funds into a Roth IRA under current rules. Each of these channels gives your money a defined role and direction. So what happens when that $1,000 a month goes to work on your behalf? Investing it consistently at 7% average annual return could grow to around $170,000 in 10 years. That's not magic. It's math powered by compounding. Each month's contribution earns returns, which themselves start earning, creating exponential growth over time. Even modest markets can't stop the steady rhythm of compound interest. The real difference maker isn't the rate, it's the consistency. Every deposit you make is one less opportunity for regret later. Beyond the numbers, this approach creates something deeper: resilience. When you systematically invest, you build a buffer that cushions you against life surprises. A job shift, health expenses, or opportunity to change careers no longer feels like a risk, because your finances have structure and momentum. Freedom doesn't just mean not owing anyone money. It means having the means to act when life presents a choice. That's the true reward for the discipline of debt elimination. To protect that progress, anchor it in what experts call lifestyle inflation immunity. This is the habit of automatically directing at least half of any pay raise, bonus, or newly freed cash into savings or investments before your spending can expand. It's a safeguard that keeps progress compounding instead of stalling. Wealth builders do this by system, not by emotion. The sooner you automate those choices, the more predictable your success becomes. Over time, the momentum from consistent investing builds a kind of quiet confidence. You no longer worry about how to keep up. You start planning how to accelerate. Each month, that once represented $1,000 lost to lenders now becomes $1,000 working towards the life you're building. This is where the shift from relief to growth truly begins, setting the stage for the next phase of your financial journey, the one where your prime earning years become your foundation for lasting security. Your 30s are more than just a busy decade. They're your financial prime time. You're likely earning more than ever before, and the choices you make now will shape how the next decades unfold. This is when compound growth and consistent action can work more powerfully in your favor. Your future 50s and 60s will either be spent worrying about money or enjoying the results of discipline you build today. Start small. One debt to eliminate, one habit to refine, one automated investment to activate. Each step compounds quietly but meaningfully, building not just wealth but lasting flexibility and control.